there is a force that is manipulating human society, and it's coming from the unseen. Of course, people think, oh, that's strange. Well, if they realized how little we can actually see, they would be shocked if they haven't come across it. Humans can see a tiny smear of reality. It's just in a tiny frequency band that we can decode into what we call a visual reality. And outside of that is infinity, by the way. Quite a lot more to know. That's when people say, they think they know all there is to know. What? You know all there is to know? It's like religion, right? What religion is saying, according to mainstream science, some say it's a bit more, but not much. The electromagnetic spectrum, the entirety of the electromagnetic spectrum is 0.005% of what exists in the universe. That's what mainstream science says. Some say a bit more, but like I say, not much. Visible light, which is the only frequency band that we can see, everything we see is within this band, is a smear called visible light, like I say, of the 0.005%. Now, what a religion is saying, or most of them, is that all you need to know is between the covers of a single book, within a smear of 0.005% of the electromagnetic spectrum, when beyond it lies infinity. Now, I think on that basis alone, there's probably just a touch more to know than is there. And there's a touch more to know than mainstream science says it knows. So, it's like that great phrase from Socrates in ancient Greece, or I'm paraphrasing, wisdom is knowing how little we know. So therefore, that always keeps your mind open, because no matter what you know or think you know, one thing is absolutely certain and is undebatable. Whatever you know or think you know, there's always more to know. In fact, vastly, infinitely more to know. If you are manipulating the human population, what you have to do to keep them in your control is to control their perception. Because everything is perception. I agreed to do this interview because of my perception of you. Right? My perception of you had been different. I might have said, no, I won't do that. Everything is perception. What we will do, what we won't do, what we'll challenge, what we won't challenge, what we'll support, what we won't support, all comes from perception. All human behavior comes from perception. Simply control perception, you control behavior. And if you are a few, and we are talking about a few in terms of this manipulative force, and your target population is billions, you cannot do that physically. They want to try to do it physically by connecting us to AI, connecting the brain to AI, but they've not done it yet. So the only way they can do it is by controlling the perception of the target population. Now, because we're multidimensional, and ultimately, I mean, what is the I? The I would suggest, is a point of attention within a state of infinite awareness, infinite consciousness. Now, that point of attention can be the size of a pea, if we choose to make it so, or ultimately it can be infinity itself. And if you are in anything close to that state, you are not manipulatable by a bunch of idiots that want to control the human society. So what you've got to do is shut your target population off from that expanded state of awareness where they'll see through your game to a point where they won't. One of the things that happens when you expand your awareness, and I am coming around to ayahuasca, when you expand your awareness, is you start to see connections. You stop seeing pixels, you start to see pictures. You stop seeing dots, you start to see pictures. The more you focus attention and are manipulated and encouraged to focus attention on the five senses alone, the more everything becomes dots, everything becomes pixels. Everything seems apart from everything else instead of connected. And so you don't want people seeing the connections because they'll see your connections and they'll see your game. That's what happened to me. So you've got to keep them in a state of five-sense focus. Can I see it, touch it, taste it, hear it, etc.? Okay, it exists then. Can I not do any of those things? It can't exist then. And I've just described, actually, the foundations of mainstream science. Not by accident. You have to control mainstream science to control people's perception of reality. So you create a mainstream science narrative that basically describes a solid world, brackets, quantum physics has shown it can't be, where everything's apart from everything else. And when you come into the realm of the five senses and this whole realm of illusory physicality and materialism, what do you see? You see a world of limitation. You see a world of I can't. You see a world in which to change anything is really slow and laborious and almost, oh, you can't change this, it's impossible, it's too big. And that's exactly where they want the target population to be, in five-sense focus. Another thing that happens with five-sense focus is, as with expanded awareness, you see that actually we're all expressions of each other. We're all points of attention in the same infinite state of awareness. Once you get into the five-sense level, everything seems apart from everything else, including other people. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you have the perfect situation for fault lines of division and divide and rule. Yeah. I am this, so I am different to I am that. Mm-hmm. And my I am must have superiority over your I am, and so we get the world we're in. Yeah. So something like psychoactive substances that take you out of five-sense reality and put another expanded reality, another sense of the infinite possibility and potential of all that is. It's the worst nightmare of this cabal. He doesn't want that. Go to America as the most extreme example, and you sit in a hotel room and you flick through them television channels until you get bloody wrist ache. Yeah. There's so many of them, right? 24/7, all day, every day. How many times do you see a program about the nature of reality? Huh?
Almost none.
Exploring the nature of reality. Exploring the nature of consciousness beyond the brain. How often? Yeah. Why is that when people are fascinated by that subject? Yeah. They want you to believe you are, as I call them, your labels. Yeah. You are who you are, the I, is your race. Oh, then we can have racial division. It's your sexuality. Then we can have sexuality division. It's your culture. We can have cultural division. And so it goes on. It's your income bracket. We can have income bracket division. These labels are not who we are. They are not the infinite I. They are experiences which the infinite I is having in a smear of what we call time, another illusion, because they don't want you to know who you really are.